In this video on C# Basics, we'll be discussing the else-if statement. Now the else-if statement adds alternative conditions to check for with an if statement. The else-if syntax looks like this. First, we have our if statement, where we have a condition that if it's true, then we perform the statement within the if scope. Then we have the else-if statement, and the else-if statement adds an additional condition where if it returns a true value, then perform whatever is inside of the else-if scope. Then finally, we have the optional else statement, where if neither the first nor second condition is true, then perform what's inside the else scope. You can have as many else-if statements as you'd like following an if statement. This allows you to check for as many conditions as you'd like before proceeding on with your code. So here inside of our main method, let's change up our if-else statement a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and add an int variable, and we're going to call it x, and we're going to set its initial value for right now equal to 5. Now let's change the 5 does not equal 6 to say something like x is equal to 6. Then we'll change our right line to say something like x is 6. Now let's add some additional conditions. So we'll do else if, and now inside of parentheses, we'll do x equals 5. Then we can add our scope, and we'll say console.writeLine. We'll say x is 5. And we'll do our console.readLine. And there we go. Let's go ahead and save our application and run it. Here we see the result in the console window where x is 5. And that's of course because the initial if statement of x equals 6 returned false. So then it jumped down to the else if statement where it evaluated whether or not x is equal to 5. Since that was true, it went ahead and wrote our right line here where x is equal to 5. Let's add some additional else if statements. So now we have an additional else if, where if we change the value of x to say 7, then we can see that right line would print out x is 7. Let's go ahead and save this and run this. And here we see that x, since it was equal to 7 and not equal to 6, it bypassed the if scope and jumped down to this else if and evaluated if x was equal to 5. Since that also was false, it jumped down to this next else if statement. Since that value returned true, then it went ahead and wrote out that x is 7.